goes along with the reteach worksheets for the Chapter 9, 5 through 9, and you have to do this in order to be able to retest. In fact, tutoring was canceled today, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and make this video. Thanks for joining me. All right, you do not have to do this video unless you're planning on retesting. All right, let's get busy. Somewhere in your packet, see if you can find factoring. Number 7, solve each quadratic by factoring. Number 7, we have to find two things that multiply to give me negative 12 and add to give me 1. I can think of them pretty quickly. That would be x plus 4 and x minus 3. Remember, to find the solutions, you have to think of what goes in for x that will add to give me 0. The first factor would be negative 4, and the second is positive 3. Number 8, I need to think of two things that multiply to give me 25 and add to give me 10. That's x plus 5 times x plus 5. That's two of the same answer, x plus 5 squared. And if you plug in negative 5, that gives me a 0. So this solution is only one solution of negative 5. Number 9, two things that multiply to give me negative 8 and add to give me 7. That would be x plus 8 and x minus 1. The two solutions are negative 8 and 1. Number 10, this is a DOS, or a difference of squares. So that's going to be x plus 7 and x minus 7. The factors have to have different signs. One's a plus and one's a minus. This solution is going to be negative 7 and this one is positive 7. Another way to write that is positive or negative 7. Number 11, there's not a C value, so I can't multiply to give me one thing and add to give me the middle term. But I do notice that both of these have an x in common. So I'm going to greatest common factor and x out. That gives me x, and in the parentheses is going to be 4x plus 25. Now if you remember, this x right here will give me a 0. And the second term, I have to take 4x plus 25 equals 0. Move the 25 to the other side, and I get 4x is negative 25. Divide by 4, and I can just leave it negative 25 over 4, or you can change it into a decimal or a fraction if that makes you happy. All right, number 12. They all have a 5 in common, so I'm going to take a 5 out. That leaves x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. Find two things that multiply to give me negative 10 and add to give me 3. The 5 would have to be negative and the 2 would be positive. Now remember, if there's a 5 in front with no variable, then I'm not going to use that as a solution. This 5 here is going to be a positive 5 for the solution. And the second factor or solution is going to be negative 2. Number 13, two things that multiply to give me, multiply to give me 21 and add to give me 10 would be x plus 7 and x plus 3. The first solution is negative 7 and the second is negative 3. Number 14 is a difference of two squares. Now I'm going to leave the 4 at the front, which means I need a 2 times 2. For the minus x squared, one sign has to be positive and one side has to be negative. And since x times x is x to the second, I'm going to fill in x and x. On this problem, what would you fill in to make it add to give me 0? That would be negative 2. On the second factor, what would you put in here to add to give me 0? That would be a positive 2. So you can write the answer as two different parts, or positive, negative 2. On number 15, I see that they have a greatest common factor, so I'm going to take out a 3. That gives me x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Now I'm trying to think of two things that multiply to give me 3 and add to give me 2. One of them is a 3 and the other would be a 1. Since the 2 is negative, I need the 3 to be negative and the 1 to be positive. My two solutions, or x-intercepts, are going to be 3 and negative 1. Okay, the next page we're going to look at is 9-7 Reteach, and this is about taking square roots. Here's a problem here and a word problem, and we're going to try these problems right here. Okay, what I have to do first using square roots is take the square root of each side. Now, if you don't know the square root of 50, it does say round to the nearest hundredth. I take the square root of 50, and x is going to be positive and negative 7.07. On number 14, I need to take the 8 and subtract it to both sides. I get x squared equals 12. Take the square root of each side, and I get x equals positive or negative 3.46. On number 15, I need to subtract the 20. Whoa, go away. Subtract the 21 from each side. I get 2x squared equals 60. Divide each side by 2, and x squared equals 30. At this point, you take the square root of each side. And the answer is going to be positive and negative 5.48. All right, let's work on a couple of word problems. A triangle has a base that's 3 times the height. I'm going to draw a picture over here. I don't know why that keeps coming up. Okay, the base is 3 times the height. So if this is the, oh my goodness. If this is the height, then the base is going to be 3 times the height. Find the height of the triangle if the area is 63. Well, the area is going to be base times height divided by 2. If the base is 3h and the height is h, divide by 2, and that's supposed to equal 63. That gives me 3h squared over 2 equals 63. Now I'm going to keep going in this space here. Now I need to multiply both sides by 2. 3h squared is equal to 126. And divide both sides by 3. So h squared is equal to 42. At this point, I've finally gotten the h squared by itself, and I need to take the square root of each side. Taking the square root of each side, I get h equals 6.48. Now, did you notice on this problem, I did not take the negative answer? That's because I was talking about, oh, wait, and this says to the nearest tenth. So it's going to be h equals 6.5. All right, now let's try number 17. The length of a rectangle is 4 times the width. So I have a rectangle. The width is going to be w, and the length is 4 times the width. The area is 850. So length times width is going to be 4 times w, or 4w squared equals 850. I need to divide both sides by 4, and that gives me w squared equals 212.5. Now I need to take the square root of both sides, and w is equal to 14.6. All right, okay, now we're going to go to the next Reteach worksheet, which is the Complete the Square 9.8, and we're going to go to number 7 and begin completing the square. All right, remember on these, you're always supposed to equal C. That's the way this one's set up. X squared minus 6x plus blank equals 7 plus blank. We're supposed to take the 6 and half it, square that, and add it to both sides. That gives me 16. Take the square root of each side, and x minus 3 is equal to positive and negative 4. Moving the 3 to the other side, I'm going to get x is equal positive 4 plus 3, which is 7, and x is equal to negative 4 plus 3, which is negative 1. So my solutions are 7 and negative 1. Moving on to number 8, same exact problem. I need to add my blank from each side. I need to take half of the 8, that gives me a 4, square the 4, and I get 16. On the right-hand side, negative 12 plus 16 is 4. Take the square root of each side, and x plus 4 is positive negative 2. Subtract 4 from each side, and here I have positive 2. Take away 4 is negative 2. Then I have negative 2 take away 4, which is negative 6. Let's try number 9. It's not set up for complete the square, so I need to move the 63 to the other side. I'm going to leave a blank when I move it. And remember, when you add to complete the square, you always have to add. Now I need to take half of the negative 2, which is minus 1 squared, add 1 to each side. That gives me 64. Take the square root of each side. X minus 1 is positive and negative 8. Add the 1 to the other side. I have positive 8 plus 1, which is 9. And I have negative 8 plus 1, which is negative 7. Okay, number 10, move the 32 to the other side. Half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. 32 and 4 is 36. Take the square root of each side, and x plus 2 is positive and negative 6. Subtract 2 from each side. We're going to get 2 answers. Positive 6 take away 2 is 4. Negative 6 take away 2 is negative 8. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is do another page of completing the square. Uh-oh, guess what? I put that one in there twice. We're done with that one. Yay. Go to the next page, which is going to be quadratic formula and the discriminant. Here's an example if you need it. We are going to go on to number 1. It says to fill in the blanks. So A is 1, B is 2, and C is negative 35. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. The next thing I told you to do is to take my negative 2 plus or minus the square root of, this is going to give me 4 minus negative 4 times negative 35 is going to be positive 140 all over 2. That gives me negative 2 plus and minus the square root of 180 divided by 2. So I just caught myself. I'm not sure what I was thinking here, but this 180 is completely wrong. This is 144. I must have been thinking about something else. Okay, so then we take negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 144 is 12 over 2. Negative 2 plus 12 would be 10 over 2, which is 5. And negative 12 minus 2 would be negative 14 over 2, which is negative 7. So we have positive 5 and negative 7. All right, let's try number 2. A is 3, B is 7, and C is 2. X equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times A times C. Next step is negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 minus 24 all over 2A, which is 6. 49 minus 24 is 25, so it's negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 25 over 6. Well, the square root of 25 is 5, so now I have negative 7 plus or minus 5 over 6. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2, and negative 2 over 6 is negative, 1/3. That's a 1/3. Negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12 divided by 6, and that is negative 2. So my solutions are negative 1/3 and negative 2. Okay, more fun right around the corner. Whoa, I just zoomed right by that. Let's see if I can try that again. There it is, number 3. Okay, A is 1, B is 1, and C is negative 20. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 20. That gives me negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 80 all over 2a, which is 2. That's negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 81 over 2, which is negative 1 plus or minus 9 over 2. Negative 1 plus 9 is negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. And negative 1 minus 9 is negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5. So my solutions are negative 4 and negative 5. All right, let's try number 4. Leave myself a little space here. I have A is 2, B is negative 9, and C is negative 5. X equals negative 9. Those are going to turn into positive. Negative 9 squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So this 9 is going to end up being positive. Negative 9 squared is 81 minus 4 times 2, which is 8 times 5 is 40. Two negatives make a positive, so that's a positive 40 all over 4. That gives me 9 plus or minus the square root of 121 over 4, which is 9 plus or minus 11 over 4. 9 plus 11 is 20. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 9 minus 11 is negative 2. Negative 2 over 4 is negative 1/2. Okay, we're going to try the next quadratic formula discussing the discriminant. And it says we have to find the discriminant using the boxes below. A is 4, B is 20, and C is 25. For the discriminant, you only need to do the part b squared minus 4ac. So that's b squared minus 4 times a times c. And you could put this in your calculator. 400 minus 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 25 is 400. Now this discriminant is going to be 0, and when the discriminant is 0, you will get one solution because you've got two of the same solutions. Number 6, A is 15, B is 8, and C is negative 1. It's going to be 8 squared minus 4 times A times C. That's 64. I have a negative 4 and a negative 1, so that makes it a positive. 4 times 15 is going to be plus 60. Hang on, I have to answer my phone. Okay, so I took care of that. This discriminant is going to be 124. Since it is a positive discriminant, I will have two solutions. Okay, number 7 says to find the number of solutions using the discriminant. The discriminant is only the part b squared minus 4ac. So since a is 1, b is 9, and c is negative 36. So I'm going to go b squared, which is 81 minus 4 times 1 times negative 36. Now this is going to be a positive number. This is 144. And then when I add together 81 and 104, see how there's two negatives here? That gives me 225. This is a positive number, so I'm going to have two solutions. Number 8, I have A is going to be 25. There is no B value, and C is 4. B squared is 0 minus 4 times A times C. Whoops, did I do that right? B squared minus 4 times A times C. There we go. And then I have 0 minus, this is 100 times 4 is 400. This has a negative 400, which means that there will be no solutions. Okay, I believe we have worked through the entire worksheets. Just remember, you also need to correct your test. You can come in this week on Wednesday morning at 7, Thursday morning at 7, and you can take your test Thursday at 2:30 to 3:20 or on Friday morning at 6:30. Thanks for joining in with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Bye.